Now I'm a sucker for crude, relatable high school comedies. Think Superbad or The Breakfast Club, which is actually my favourite movie. But one TV show from 2008 captured the attention of millions of people. Was this because of the crude humour? Was it because of the line delivery? But honestly, who cares? I've seen it, you've seen it, your mum's probably seen it. Let's talk about The Inbetweeners. The Inbetweeners is one of the most iconic British TV shows out there. It spawned 3 seasons, 2 movies, and a US version that no one likes. But why is this show so iconic? On the surface, it seems like a very standard coming-of-age show with crude humour.
How much Lego can you stuff up your bum? Oh, for
wacky scenarios, and thick London accents.
Oi, bruv.
Yes, bruv.
3 pints of lager and a pint of Guinness.
But if we dive deeper, we can see that this show is actually very clever with its humour. It's not always just, it's funny because sex, lol, or outdated stereotypes. All of this is intentional to give a fairly realistic representation of being in late teens in Britain. The events that happen are often over the top, but not completely unrealistic, and I do like a sitcom that's completely awkward to watch in every way. You know, secondhand embarrassment. Think Fawlty Towers or Friday Night Dinner, and this show is no exception. But I think it's done particularly well here. These characters are so desperate and so ambitious that it only makes sense for their dumb plans to crumble. Unsurprisingly, these plans are almost always to get laid and or popular, the aspirations of many late teens, but naturally not being popular makes this a struggle to say the least. While these characters are full of flaws and make questionable decisions,
It's just plan A was so brilliantly devised, I wouldn't have thought we'd need a plan B. What is it, climb over her fence?
It's a bit higher than I imagined.
and sometimes just overall not great people, these characters are not unpleasant to watch. And I think that's because while we see their actions as questionable, it's not hard to see elements of ourselves or others that we know in these characters. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm a bit offended that there's not an option for a whole pint of this, but whatever. I mean, you know. Gotta go for the Pizza Express. Eh. Who the fuck likes figs? Cherry. Florida, duh. I mean, if in this hypothetical situation I can afford it. I don't know, Ross. I mean, it pays well. Don't judge me. Never have I ever's always good. I don't know how to feel about that. As weird as this comparison is, watching these characters do their weird plans isn't that unlike watching Greg Heffley's plans go to absolute shit. We understand they had it coming, but we're still rooting for them because they're just interesting to watch. So I think another reason why these characters are so fun to watch is the actors and their line delivery. It's over the top when it needs to be.
Is that a fish?
Yes, Lauren, it's a fucking fish! Give me a minute!
But a lot of the time it has a more subtle and realistic quality to it, making it more relatable. And the bond between characters feels very genuine, and even though some of these characters are complete contrasts to each other, we still understand why they're friends. They all have something that they don't always show. Will presents himself as sensible, intelligent, but can sometimes come across as a little ignorant. Simon seems considerate, but he's so desperate to get laid that often he can come across as a bit selfish. Jay tries to be edgy and cool, coming off as a dickhead, somewhat intentionally, but this is only because his dad is completely wrecking his self-esteem. And Neil... Neil...
What are you doing? Fire's going down.
What I'm trying to say is, these characters are very cleverly written, and it's fun to see them in scenarios that we can relate to. The rise of the show actually based a lot of the events off real life experiences, and yeah, it's unlikely that you or someone you know is going to accidentally flash a testicle to the whole school in Speedos during a fashion show, but something like embarrassingly being denied alcohol in a bar, or doing something stupid in front of our crush, are things that everyone goes through at some point. And although hundreds of teenage sitcoms do this, not many manage to capture the realism of it. I really hope this doesn't mean people are going to start calling me Briefcase Wanker.